guys, Tonk here, bringing you today another Ask Tonk video, a video series where you post your questions and I will pick some of them and answer you in upcoming Ask Tonk video. Today's question comes from Harun and he says, what is the best possible strategy counter to use against Baserape when you are on the losing side, of course?
Well, I'm not that often on the team that is getting base raped. When I am, the things that we do is that we use the area vehicles to fly them on the flag that the enemy team is the furthest away from. So, for example, if you're playing Golmud Railway, if your team controls nothing and enemy team controls everything, and for example you're on the Russian side, we will use the jet or the little bird to bail on G flag, which is the furthest away from the team that's base raping you, which is obviously the area in front of your base. So basically we use a aerial vehicle to bail on their furthest flag when stuff like that is happening. Well, what this will create is that some of the forces of the enemy team will go back to that flag to try to capture it, which will then divide their forces, let's say, in half, which then, when you die on one of those flags, if you die, you would spawn back in one of your armored vehicles or in a jet, and then you would fight your way back to capture some of your starting flags like Echo or Alpha on the Russian side of Golmud Railway. There's a lot of examples I can give you for maps, what you can do. I can give you another example. For example, Zavod 311, and I mentioned that earlier in the commentary video I posted on Zavod. If you're on, for example, on US side and you're getting base raped by the Russian team, they're all in front of your base. You use the transport chopper or the little bird, and you just fly around the hill so that you cannot get killed by the anti-aircraft, and you bail on Bravo or Alpha. Preferably Alpha, because it's much harder for enemy vehicles to actually clear you and your squad inside Alpha. So that's pretty much it, how you would deal base rape. And that's, in my experience, the only way you can deal base rape, both in public or competitive 8v8. If you fail to do things like this several times, your tickets will burn out, and you will not be able to get out of the base rape. And the second question today comes from Manuel Martin, and he says, is there any possibility to get rid of silly gunners? Nothing worse than a gunner who constantly shoots enemy jet at the horizon. He gives away your position and makes thermal chemical smoke kind of useless. And a second question, when you don't have a gunner and an area vehicle attacks you while he doesn't give you an angle for your main cannon, what do? Sit switch, get out of for RPG shot, or you try to hide? Well, to answer your first question, when you have a silly gunner, my tactics, I have three tactics. The first tactic is that you pretend you're AFK. You just stop driving your tank, you go into a position where he cannot shoot anything. So for example, you drive into a house or you go behind a container, not giving him an angle to shoot at anything, and then after some seconds or some minutes, if you're unlucky, he will get bored, he will bail out of your vehicle, and then you can take control of your vehicle and drive fast away while he's not looking that you started driving the tank, because he still thinks that you're probably AFK. That's one tactic that works for me. The second tactic is, and that works much better for me, is that you drive the tank into the red zone and you wait like 5 seconds into the red zone, since you have a 10-second countdown time to get out of the red zone. And in most cases, in my experience at least, they will bail on like 5 seconds left, and then you just drive back to the road and drive away from them. So those are the two tactics I use. And the third tactic is the same with the red zone. So you go into the red zone, but you bail from the tank and just giving him a death because he's an idiot. But that way you will lose your tank. So I recommend, before you go with the drastic third option, that you try the first two options. And to answer your second question, when you don't have a gunner and an area vehicle attacks you, what I do, and if I'm playing solo, and this mostly happened in Battlefield 3 where area vehicles are really powerful, and that is back when I played Operation Firestorm a lot, and mostly solo, completely alone, Firestorm or Karg Island. When I would get attacked by an area vehicle, say for example you have a jet strafing you, and let's say that he's a mediocre pilot, an average pilot, he would just do a complete 90-degree strafing run on you, or a 45-degree. You just have to drive you just have to drive towards him, which will make some of his rocket pod miss. There's a high chance that you will end up disabled, but that's one way. The second way, and this is what I do, and I can give you some examples with some videos I will upload in a few days out of Battlefield 3, is what I like to call jet baiting. So you go in, you see a jet pilot, and he's hell-bent to kill you and whoever is in your squad. You go into a completely obvious spot. Like for example, you go on a hillside of Golmud, like where the jet can clearly see you, and he will think that you're an idiot. Then he will do a strafing run, and you activate your APS, and he will just keep going and going. Most of the times, in my experience at least, until he manages to get you. And in some cases, that will make them fly really low, but then it will be really easy for you to take them out. And I will give you some examples of how I do that. Would I go out for RPG shot? Maybe, like if he gives a good angle, but if you're like in a flag where there's like 3 or 4 people and you bail out for an RPG shot, there's a high fucking chance that somebody will steal your tank in the process while you're aiming the RPG at a tank. But definitely, the most effective tactic to use when you're getting attacked by heavy vehicles is to try to hide. Yes, so try to use some cover. The buildings, maybe drive inside the building, depending on what map you're playing. If you're playing Golmud Revel, then try to stick with the town side of the map. I'm talking about Alpha and Bravo, where you have buildings everywhere, which you can use as decent cover to escape the grasp of a jet or a gunship and things like those. And to tell you something else, thermal camo works always, regardless if you have a gunner who is completely retarded and shoots the 50 caliber Browning machine gun on the tank at everything. Thermal camo works as long as you are the operator of the vehicle, so it will always unspot you after 3 seconds. Your tank will always blink on the minimap. It will never be completely spotted, so it will basically give you the same thermal camo effect as if you don't have a gunner. So you don't have to worry about that. If you're running thermal camo like I do, then for that you don't have to worry. And that's it for this, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any questions, then leave them down in the comment section. I will pick some of them and I will answer them in the upcoming Tonk video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I answered some of your questions. Have a nice day, and bye bye.